In today's episode of the Purpose Pursuit podcast, I have a really special guest. It is my second son, Jude. He's 18 years old and he is getting ready to go on a travelling expedition as part of his gap year and then off to uni after that. And we have a really honest chat together about this stage of life, letting children go. How do we help them navigate decision making and letting them make their own decisions, but also supporting them through this process? We talk about the transition of growing up, leaving home, finding where you want to go to uni and everything that's involved with that. This is going to be a really useful episode if you are in this stage, if you are approaching this stage, or you just want to have a little bit of a behind the scenes understanding of parenting a teenager and what it feels and looks like to do that. I really hope you enjoy this extra special episode. So today I am absolutely delighted to be joined by my second son, Jude, who I have managed to convince to come on the pod. Jude, we are going to have a great chat talking about what it is to be growing up, moving on, getting ready to travel, go to uni, fly the nest. People who listen to my pod, loads of them are dealing with kids growing up or they've navigated their children having already left. And most of the time, nobody gets a look in as to what that actually feels like when you're literally experiencing it right now. And at the time of recording, we are about a month away, just over a month away from you leaving for a few months to go as far away as you possibly can go, which is New Zealand. And then after that, you'll come home after travelling and then you'll probably head to uni. So we are at the beginning of a new phase. And Jude is 18 years old. He's just finished his A-levels, and that's a little bit of context as to where we're at. So we've both got some questions. I've prepared some questions. You've got some questions, but we haven't really talked about these questions, so that our answers are real and honest and just let people into what we're reflecting on at this point. Okay, let's just start with some really quick fire ones. I'll go first. What's one thing that you're definitely not going to miss about living at home?
There aren't many things that I'm not going to miss. But I think if Levi's listening to this, I love him a lot, but he is very, very messy. And so
is Callum, our lodger.
Yeah, Callum is also. But Levi's messiness, I will probably not miss that, but I will miss him a lot.
Yeah, Levi loves tomato ketchup, doesn't he?
He does.
And we hate it.
I hate it.
So like remnants of ketchup on a plate in his room is like the worst, isn't it?
Yeah.
But he's probably helping you prepare for uni.
Yes.
Because you will probably live with some messy people. Because you're quite tidy, really.
Yeah.
You like clean anyway, don't you?
Yeah.
Or anything about me you're not going to miss?
Maybe you're nagging sometimes, but most of the time it's for my benefit.
Okay,
so
but you don't always love it, let's be honest
see
about
that
it.
in the moment.
What is a lovely home food, a comfort home food that you're going to miss when you can't get hold of it?
This is really weird, but I just love milk, and so milk with like anything, I'd like.
Drink milk.
Yeah, I know that is true. That's
available.
True, but it's just free here, just milk and not just biscuits. I just have milk or cereal, which is pretty weird, but that is my go-to.
That shows the level of cooking here, that what you're going for is milk. Clearly, that is not my biggest contribution. But milk is a bit funny in different countries, and actually it can taste a bit different. I have no idea what New Zealand milk's like. Vanuatu milk, who knows? You might be actually milking it yourself. I don't know. That'll
be fun.
Yeah. Okay. And one more little quick one. If you could take one thing with you from home, like not a practical thing, something that you can't really take with you, what would you take? I know what you're going to say.
I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but
Pax. You'd take Pax.
I would take my dog, my lovely dog.
You'd put her in your rucksack.
And she'd probably want to come as well, because I reckon I'm her favourite. So
no, I'm a favourite, but you argue with me about this all the time. Well. Okay. Have you got any quick ones for me?
What's something funny about me as a kid that you will always remember, or something a bit quirky about me that you remember about me growing up? I do. I actually was talking to Zoe about this morning. You were really quite hilarious when you were potty training. You were such a comedian and performer about it, whereas Noah had been like quite private and reluctant. Nothing better than the opportunity to put yourself on the potty, even if there was a room full of people, and you would perform and you would make people laugh and you would take all your clothes off and sit there. You're really quite comfortable with nakedness, aren't you? That has always been a thing. I don't know whether it's rugby that's made you comfortable with nudity, but you are quite a naked person, and you used to sit
Cheers,
on
Mum.
the potty. You used to sit on the potty, and I've got actual photographic evidence of you making people laugh whilst you are sitting there ready to perform. So you've always been quite happy to be with people and make people laugh for sure. So that is a definite one. Go on, anything else?
What's one household chore that you will not miss nagging me about, reminding me to do?
Oh gosh, loads of things. Putting your actual washing away when it's gone through the whole process.
I feel like I do that. I do it at a set point. Like,
yeah, you do it when you want to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm like, if you know anything about me now, don't shuffle your feet because we'll be able to hear it.
Sorry.
If you know anything about me, anyone who knows anything about me will know that when I ask people to do things, what do I mean when I'm asking them to do it? Do it now.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at do it later. Maybe as well as that, sometimes when I ask you to do things and then you just conveniently forget to do it. So I won't miss that. But you are happy to help, but normally on your time frame. That's what I find.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't we move into a little bit deeper now? Because this is all about the letting go phase of life. And you are 18, which means you're actually an adult.
Yeah.
I've got 2 adult children, allegedly. You don't literally become an adult the day you turn 18. It is a bit of a process, isn't it? But you are at that point of transitioning to being part-time at home. That's what's happening. Whatever you go on to do, you're not going to be as fully at home as you are right now. And as you look back, let's start with a couple of questions from me about the growing up and reflections on growing up. What do you think are some of the biggest lessons you've learned growing up in this home? What do you think you've learned being part of this family? And the way we've lived life, living where we live and all the rest of it.
I think one of the main things that I've learned that I may have taken for granted, but it's just about talking about things. I feel like in this house we've always been quite good at that, and so that may have led to us having a few more arguments. But I think that's actually been really good and healthy and positive that I've learned to have those, because we don't really keep secrets. Yeah, we kind of bring things to the light if there's an issue or if there's something that's upset one of us, we will talk about it. And generally those conversations, as much as in the moment it can feel quite tense, they have a positive outcome. So that's something that I'm really grateful for. It's enabled me to have those conversations with people outside of the home. And I think that's why sometimes I find it difficult to have those conversations, because it's so normal and natural here that I've grown quite comfortable with those conversations. Often people don't already have that.
Does.
And so that's why I can find it difficult sometimes to have those conversations with people outside the home. But what was the question was?
Yeah, what a lesson you've learned, and you've learned to talk about stuff.
Yeah, talk about things and not keep things in the dark, bring it to the light and all that stuff.
And I would say, actually, that I grew up in a home where we talked about things. Yeah. And that's probably one thing that was a good thing I've kind of brought through. I definitely felt we could talk and we say the thing. Sometimes when we say the thing, we say too many things, don't we? Yeah. And you and I...
Probably that's too more so.
Yeah, we are more inclined to say things that we're like, oh, shouldn't have said that. Yeah. Of everybody in the family, you and I are in top position for that. That's and true. We do row sometimes.
Yeah.
Less so.
Less. Yeah.
And and yet we are probably most similar. I know that probably drives you mad to hear me say that.
No, it's true.
We are most similar.
I am. Probably your favourite as well.
I'm not. That question will not be answered. You love being everyone's favourite.
It's true.
But I do think what you've just said is true. We might take for granted that talking about stuff is easy, and some people actually find it hard to say things out loud, don't they? Yeah. And talking about stuff is a really good thing to do, and you've learned that that's important. So maybe when you are really far from home, and you're obviously travelling with Ben and hopefully Eli as well.
Shout out to Ben and Eli.
Yeah. Are you going to make sure you talk about... They're quite good at talking, do you think?
They are very good at talking, which is quite refreshing.
Yeah, you love that.
To be with people like that. And so, yeah. But I'm sure there will be times where there'll be things that we're going to probably fall out about or disagree on.
Yeah.
But definitely, I've developed the skills to be able to
navigate
that.
It's better out than in.
Yeah.
I think, from what I know of your friend Ben, I think me and him have got some similar traits, which means you are well prepared for being with Ben.
Yeah.
Because you've grown up with me. So that should help you too. How do you think you've changed in the last few years? I know there's loads of ways you want to grow, Jude, but how do you think you have grown? Where can you see some growth?
I think there's lots of... I'm probably more critical of myself. A lot of the time I can probably see where I've not grown, but I was thinking about this the other day. I think I have probably grown in my ability to allow people to have other opinions.
You have, definitely.
Deal with confrontation better. I think
Yeah,
I've grown in that.
you have.
Quicker to say sorry, I'd hope as well.
You have, yeah.
But I think, that's one of the main things is that I used to be like, oh, if someone's got a different opinion to me, then they're objectively wrong. Like, I am right here. But I think now I've grown to like know that actually we can hold different opinions and
we can be curious about those opinions.
and it's good to actually talk about those things rather than us. They've got a different opinion to me. I'm going to not talk to them. Right? Like, why do they have that opinion? What's caused them to have that opinion? So I think I've probably grown in that way. But there are many things that I want to grow in.
I think you've challenged me in that way because I also agree that I'm trying with that, but I actually think you've pushed me to try and see things from why somebody might have that perspective. Yeah. And I think as we think about the way the world is and we think about politics and stuff, if somebody has a strong opinion, what's led to them having that opinion and how are they still human is really, really important. Yeah. And I think you are really good at doing that, and I think you've done really well. And I would agree, you are definitely better at saying sorry. You're better at trying to get things sorted, and you've definitely come down a little bit in that way of like being able to sort of, okay, I'm going to step down from my hobby horse, that I may also be on a hobby horse at the same time. I think the other problem that you and I have is that our face is really expressive.
Yeah,
it's a really bad problem.
I don't think that's just. I feel like Levi and Noah have both got that as well. I feel like Dad's probably the least so in that way, but I feel like we've all got very expressive faces in conversations. Or
I'll say to Dad, can you show your face? So I'll say to Dad, are you excited? And he'll go, yeah. And I'm like, well, can you literally tell your face? Whereas if we think something's stupid, our face demonstrates you're really stupid. If we think something's funny or sad, it's really obvious.
Yeah.
And I need insight. You know, like people talk about using your inside voices when you're a child. We need to use our inside faces and try and work on that. But I think you have grown in those ways. And like, we are all works in progress. I am also trying to get quicker to say sorry and to see where I'm wrong. So hopefully that shows you that it's not like these things go away. Yeah. You're doing it your whole life and you're trying to do better. Okay, last kind of question in this area. What are you most proud of accomplishing so far? What's been like a tough thing that you think I did well, I got through that? What can you look back and be proud of?
I think my time at school, like with studies, although I didn't necessarily do as well as I could potentially have done.
You did do well though, Jude.
Yeah, I think like I really actually, in reflection, I actually probably really struggled for those few years in sixth form, like mentally.
Yeah, you were quite low.
I was quite low. And probably a lot of my behaviour patterns were pretty like, I don't know, signs of that things weren't right. And so I think that's something I'm quite proud of in reflection, that I was actually managed to persevere almost, where that's something I struggle with, to be disciplined and consistent with stuff. I was actually able to do that, and I worked hard, and ultimately I did pull out the bag to get
your teachers
results.
Nearly died a death of shock.
They did. And so by that question about what am I proud of, I struggle to think about that, but because I'm probably more inclined to be like, oh, not good enough. But I think that is something that I can be proud of. And
why do you think you found it quite difficult at times in sixth form? Because on paper you were in a school that, you know, it wasn't a terrible school, it was a good school by lots of measures, you had friends, you're also somebody who is academically capable. So why do you think that was harder than people might imagine it was? Because on paper they might think, oh, Jude's a great fit for school. So why do you think it was tricky at times?
I don't know. I think it might have been like a mixture of other things going on outside of school as well. And
hormones are a real thing.
Yeah, they are. But I think also because I stayed at the same school for sixth form, and it almost felt like the same old for quite a significant amount of time, and so maybe struggled with motivation because of that. And I don't know. I'm not sure. You're often good at telling, like, you're good at analysing these things. What do you think?
Why do I think?
Why do you think I maybe struggled?
Yeah, I think you were
Sleeping as well. I wasn't sleeping
but,
well.
But sleeping is a thing that we do. And I remember actually that when I was in sixth form, there were moments I really loved about sixth form, and I've got some brilliant memories of things that we did and stuff I got up to. But I did a lot of sleep escaping, and I would sometimes sleep away a lot of the weekend. And there were times when I felt really low as well as really good. And I think that is quite normal for teenagers to have that range of feeling, rather than that be. I think there's a lot of people who just don't say that and don't really talk about it, and they feel that full range. And I think maybe your style of like learning and your style of exploring things, you maybe were feeling ready for being in a different space. You are in some ways young and in other ways quite grown up. And I think maybe sometimes you felt when you were back at school, things felt, I don't know, like you were getting ready to move out of that environment. And yet you can probably look back now and see some of the better times. And you've still got some great friends from school who you love dearly, who are also growing up and changing and stuff. Yeah. So I think sometimes when we're in a stage, it can be difficult to see the good in it, but you can look back and think, actually, there were some special things that happened. And you dealt with some tough stuff during that time and came through and really grew, I think. And you're having the time of your life, aren't you, right now?
Yeah, it's been really good.
Yeah.
You should think about it, taking a year out, do it.
You are an advocate of it. It's been really good for you, hasn't it? Really good for you. You needed it. Do you want to ask me anything about the whole growth, this bit?
Yeah. How do you think that I've changed or grown as a person over the years? I mean, you've kind of just spoken.
I've kind of answered some of that. I suppose what I would add, the main thing I would add is I think you're getting increasingly able to reflect, and I admire your ability to see other people's perspectives in a way that I still sometimes go, what on earth would you think that for?
Are there things that you've learned about yourself through parenting?
Oh my gosh, everything. Yeah. The depths of my selfishness and control. I'm more controlling than I'd like to think I am. Going back to the previous question about how you've grown, you are also somebody who has such a big presence in a space. Like you are physically enormous, but you are also somebody that people do gravitate to, but you have got like this weightiness about you, but you're so kind and so inclusive. Like you are brilliant at that. You make people feel really special. And you're good at, like, I know this, you hate me saying this, but you are really good at teaching and coming alongside. I've got this secret thing that I think Jude would be great in a teaching environment. And so he just rolls his eyes. But regardless of what environment you do that in, teaching, coaching, you're so good at it. You're good with children. All of that is so lovely to see. But in terms of as a parent, I think you just realise increasingly the depths of your own imperfections by being a parent. You realise how much stuff you've still got to work on. I remember before I became a parent, I just thought it looked like, well, this is what you do. You do this and you do this. This is a manual and this is how it turns out. And you realise, gosh, I've got a lot to learn. I also think you learn the depths of your capacity to love as a parent. Like, I don't think I've ever loved anything like I love my children. I'm Mama Bear, 100%. Yeah. I will kick into action, won't I? Yeah. If there is an issue, if that time when you got hurt at school by that boy, I was activated.
You were.
And I think that's...
The teachers had to deal with mum in full
mum mode. Yeah, I wasn't rude to anyone.
No, you weren't. You were just speaking truth.
Speaking truth, exactly that. Yeah. Okay, are we done with that section? Have you got anything else you want to ask me?
Yeah, kind of similar to that. Is there something you'd wish you'd done differently as a parent?
Yeah.
Kind of from what you've learned. And
yes.
What would you do differently?
Loads of things. I think one of the things I definitely have probably done differently is try to be a little bit less hands-on. Mm. I do think I find that really hard. And that's like that control investment. We've both got developer as a strength, both of us have. And developer is all about wanting to see people grow. And the dark side of it can be when you're over-invested in somebody's growth. We've had these conversations where I've said to you, you've got to let it go. You've got to let them make their own choices, haven't I? Yeah. And it's the same to myself. Your dad will say to me, you've got to let him do it. You've got to let him find out the hard way. Yeah. I bet you're glad that sometimes I didn't listen to dad. Yeah. And I was willing
There are lots of things that music, GCSE, all these different things.
Oh my gosh, don't talk about music GCSE. I'm just doing it again with Levi. I'm in PTSD over music GCSE. I've literally sat that GCSE 3 times so far. Yeah. I got an A star the first time, thank you. I don't need to do it again.
No, but
Little
you're
flex.
yeah, little sort of flex A-star music.
So did I.
Yeah.
Well, a 9. 'Cause
Yeah,
I'm not
sorry,
that
a
old.
9. Yeah, okay, fine, a 9. No, but joking aside, music, GCSE, if I had just let you with your composition and not sat with you and made you start it,
Yeah.
it's a difficult one. So the whole thing about control and letting go, I think, is a really hard thing as a parent, and I'm not sure I've always got that right. Right now, you're doing your UCAS application, aren't you? Which is
Last
a joyful experience for us.
It is
Not.
not.
And that's another letting go, letting you, I don't know, fall. Can I do that? Can I actually bring myself to do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want me to let you?
No, I appreciate your help. I just struggle to make these decisions. Like sometimes when it's decision paralysis, that's a
Yeah,
phrase,
you
isn't it?
definitely
I
have
definitely
decision
get that,
paralysis.
especially when it feels like such a big decision. And when with uni, I feel like I feel like it would be probably the right thing to do to go, but it's not something where it's like I feel so clear about what I want to do in the future, which would make it easier. Like if I wanted to be a doctor, but like you'd have to go and study medicine or that kind of thing. It feels kind of up in the air for me. So, but that's why you come in very handy.
And that's where we're a bit different, because I'm not sure I get such paralysis over decisions, because I'm kind of more inclined to think done is better than perfect. Do you think you hold yourself to a high standard and that's why?
Probably, yeah.
Paralysis, or just don't make the decision?
Yeah, probably. I'm always looking for what's like the perfect choice to make, or
Even making decisions for what to eat at a restaurant or clothes to buy.
Honestly, that's why I love restaurants where they've got very minimal on
set menus.
It's like Weatherspoons the other day with Levi, and I mean the food was pretty awful because I mean it's usually better than that, but it wasn't great. But we were sitting there for quite a long amount of time. There's so many options there, and I just couldn't decide what I wanted to eat. And Levi is just like, I'll have this. He decided within a few seconds, and I'm there just. Yeah,
I mean,
it's crippling.
You are so different. Levi is so rash that he's going to make decisions sometimes that are foolish, whereas you are an overthinker, aren't you? I think that is where we're different. You are this bizarre thing of being a deep feeler and a deep thinker. People are often one or the other.
Come on.
And you're both of those things, actually. And I think that's where the challenge comes. But I think you have to kind of learn with decisions that sometimes you're right. The more choice there is, the harder decisions make. And that is a whole thing. People get decision fatigue. Like even just when we were renovating this house, I decided not to look at, for example, loads of tile shops, because if you go to loads of tile shops, you've then got hundreds of tiles to choose from. So you have to self-limit around a decision, which is what we're trying to do about the unis, isn't it? And so put some limits around. If we look at every uni that there is, it's too much. You have to kind of discard and get to a short list. Yeah. And then once you've got a short list, you have to trust the process then that you'll probably be all right anywhere out of those things. They'll all be okay. Mm-hmm. There'll be tough moments and good moments in all of those. I don't think there is a perfect way. And I think I would love you to get that for yourself. Okay, so you're getting ready for independence. We're in these few weeks before you go. Mm-hmm. What's the most exciting thing about leaving home? I know you're not leaving forever. This is your home. But for this few months, what's the most exciting thing?
I think that exactly, the independence, that is exciting, as much as it's like daunting as well.
You ready?
Yeah, but maybe I don't even know if I am ready, but it's good to do things when
you've got to be ready.
Yeah, like me maybe doing that will make me ready. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you'll have to do it.
Yeah, like I'm really excited for that. To go and explore some different countries and different cultures will be really cool to be a part, to be with two of my good mates and spend that time with them. Because
you're going to Asia as well?
Yeah, it's going to be really cool. So, yeah, I think the independence, I know that's not very specific.
No, I think that's a good one. And your point about being ready is a really good one, because when you get married, you won't feel ready. When you become a parent, you won't feel ready. But at the same time, you get ready by having to do the thing. Exactly. What do you think is going to be hard for you? Like, what do you anticipate? There will be moments where you are tearful or sad and you want to phone home. What do you think is going to trigger that for you the most? Oh, remember when you went on holiday? Hang on, before you answer. Remember when you trod on a cactus when you were on holiday with Noah?
That was awful. that was a horrible few days.
Me and Dad were away on holiday for our wedding anniversary. You had gone to Croatia with Noah, and we got this barrage of I'm in so much pain. Noah doesn't
And I also
understand.
I had heat
You
stroke
had
at the
heat
same time.
stroke.
I was like in bed. I covered myself in Sudocrem. So I was just I went a bit mental because I was like in
Yeah, 'cause you were
such
so
distress
itchy.
and tired. And
Yeah. And you were a lot, and we were like, we can't really help you from here,
Yeah.
except you wanted us to help you.
Noah was extremely patient. So
Oh, although at the time everything was annoying.
everything
you.
was enough. Yeah.
But he was, and he went off to get you medicine, didn't he? And
He
look
did.
after you. And you trod on a cactus, and that was painful, so you couldn't put your foot down on the floor.
Yeah.
It's funny now, but it wasn't funny
Yeah.
at the time. And that caused you to phone home. So what do you think, apart from treading on cactuses, cacti, or any other random events, what might push you when you're gone?
I think probably if I'm probably more tired and that kind of thing, and then something's set me off, or something obviously I'm going with friends, so something that they do might frustrate me, and
Maybe
want to be able to debrief with my mom and go through it with her. I think that kind of thing will be I don't necessarily have that, or just normal everyday stuff. I like to come and tell you and Dad things that are going on in my life.
Often at midnight, you jump into our bedroom, jump onto our bed. I'm like, I'm trying to go to sleep.
I think that I'll miss that almost luxury of being able to just come upstairs and speak to you about things.
You can FaceTime, Jude.
I can, yeah.
Maybe, I don't know whether you will be able to in Vanuatu.
No, maybe not. But I'll probably miss that, just the luxury of being able, being so near and easy to talk to.
But you'll have to rely on yourself a bit more then, won't you? Yeah. And you've got a faith that you can rely on too.
It's true. Get in the word.
Yeah, absolutely. And talk it through with the people that you're getting to know, and just say, actually, I'm really struggling. I imagine you'll all have up and down days when you're like, I just want to be in my own bed. I just want to be warm and home and all the things of home. Yeah. I remember when Noah came back the first Christmas. Do you remember, Jude, when he'd done his first term at uni? And there was that whole you're coming home feeling, and it was shattered, and his own bed.
I've got a photo of him asleep on the sofa.
Yeah, he was so tired, beside himself. Because it's emotionally exhausting, isn't it, as well as physically, when you're in a new place. And he'd had a great time, but there was no place like home in that moment, and you just need it. But you've got home in your heart. We're with you everywhere. You know that. Home is
where the heart is.
Home is where the heart is, but your heart will also be in your home. Do you feel like you're as prepared as you could be?
Probably not.
No.
Which is why I'm glad I've still got a few weeks.
What do you think else you can do?
I think really practical things, and it's so childish. I'm still pretty hopeless around food and cooking and all of that stuff. There's practical things like I've still got to get visas sorted and vaccines and all
you
of
won't
that.
be going anywhere.
That I mean, logistically, I'm not prepared in that way, but I bet you're probably more saying
anyway,
a bit
really.
deeper than that.
No, all those things. I think some things you've just got to you've got to go with what happens when it happens, haven't you? And you can't totally prepare for everything because it's just not possible. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe recognising you will have down days is just important, and what you're going to do to look after yourself in those moments and do the things that give you comfort.
Though. It's good that if I was alone and had those down days, that'd be probably a lot more difficult.
I don't think that would be you to go totally alone. I don't think that's you or me to do that kind of thing.
Travelling isn't for me. Probably.
No. I was talking about this with my mother-in-law the other day, and she said to me, I've always had you down as such an independent person. And I'm like, I am the least independent person that I can think of. I don't think I've ever done anything independent in my life. I got married.
Started Sidekick.
Yeah, but that wasn't a totally independent thing, because
that was brave and independent.
It was brave, but I've got Dad.
Yeah, but then what isn't independent then? Because I guess there aren't many things that you could always. I don't know, if you're married.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't see myself as an independent soul, is what I'm saying, and I wouldn't solo travel without a friend. Yeah. No way. What about you to me then about this looking forward, preparing for independence? Anything you want to ask me?
How do you feel about me leaving home?
I really think it's the right thing for you to go and do this. You need this gap year. Everything, even now, the stuff you're learning right now, the work you're doing, that you're working on, you've got a new job at M&S, and you're working at a local charity, and you've worked in a local coffee shop, you've turned your hand to all sorts of things. But I think I agree that as much as I wanted you to apply to uni last year, it's right you've had a gap year. I think I think you're going to appreciate uni so much more for having done this year. You needed a break from all of that stuff. I am really sad about you going. I know what this feels like. I've done it before. And when Noah first went to uni, and you might not remember because we were going, you felt it too because you missed him. I'd just look in his empty bedroom and it just felt rubbish, didn't it?
Yeah.
And we'd be like, he's not here. And he was only in Oxford. So that was like not very far. You are going to be so far. And I think there'll be something about knowing that I'm a day away from you, even if you need me. And I I would come. But I'm still a day away.
Yeah.
So I can't do anything immediately. I think I'm going to find that hard. But I do know I don't feel uneasy about it. I'm so excited for you. I can't wait to hear. You will communicate, won't you?
Cool.
I know you don't have a lot of comms in the first period, but when you can, sending photos back and all of that.
I feel like I'm quite good.
You are good at that. You are good at that, Jude. You're all good at that, actually. I mean, Levi is a bit intermittent. He's not bad for a 16-year-old boy. I would say you're all good communicators. Noah sends me regular texts too. You're good at that.
Yeah.
Anything else about preparing for independence? Coming from somebody who's never done anything independent, I can't really help.
Well, yeah, my question kind of is, what advice would you give as I step into this new chapter of independence? But you just said.
I probably would just say you've got more within you than you know, and it's only when you do something like this that you'll realise how strong you are. And strong doesn't mean you don't have difficult days, but I think you've just got so much more to get you through this than you realise. And I think what you're really good at is you are really good at adapting to a crisis. You're much better at that than the average person because you will roll with it. So I think if Ben is anything like me, where he might flap if something doesn't go to plan, I don't know, or Eli, if either of them are more like that, you will come into the fore in those moments. They might be the better forward planners, but you will be good at thinking in the moment, and you'll be good at that, and you should be comfortable with knowing that you can offer that. And you're going to meet some amazing people from completely different walks of life that'll change you forever.
Yeah.
Okay, so uni is after travel. Probably 90%. 90%? No? 80, 70, 50?
What percentage would you like it to be?
Well, if you don't have a plan, I would like it to be 100%. If you do have a plan, then that's different.
Yeah.
I've said that to you all along.
You have.
I just think if you're not going to do it, I want you to have a plan to do something else.
Yeah.
Which doesn't involve just thinking about a plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, bearing in mind that at the moment you are applying, how have you... Well, we've kind of talked about this a little bit already, but how are you feeling about making the actual decision to put your 5 choices? So if people haven't gone through this yet, when you do your UCAS form, you have 5 choices. You can pick 2 at the same uni, but you get no more than 5 courses to pick from. And that's hard. How are you finding that process? Like you said, you don't want to be a specific job. Like if you want to be a medic, you know you've got to study medicine. If you want to be a musician, you've got to study music. Whereas you're in that kind of more, well, what could I do? Well, you were like, shall I do sport or shall I do philosophy and politics? And that's been a wrangle. You've sorted that one out though, haven't you now?
Yeah. I think kind of just... the question was...
Well, how have you found the decision making and getting to this place?
Well, I find it difficult. I've been trying to kind of be led by what subjects I'll enjoy, because I think if you enjoy something, then the years at uni probably won't. Like they won't drag on as much. I'll enjoy it. And
totally agree.
If you enjoy something, you can probably find some sort of career path in it. And also, it's far less linear now, isn't it? Anyway, what you study at uni is not necessarily what you'll do after. So, so I have found it difficult, and I probably will still find it difficult as I properly firm these 5 choices. But I think it's kind of provided a bit of peace knowing that ultimately what I do is what I study at uni isn't necessarily going to guarantee what I do after uni.
No.
And also I believe it's in God's hands as well. So that's kind of provided peace around that.
Yeah. Nothing has to be firm or forever, and there's always an opportunity to shift and do something different. Yeah. There always is. Yeah. And I think that should release you a little bit to just follow the interest and give it a go, knowing that actually 10 years time you might think, I'd like to do a bit more study around sport now. Yeah. Well, why not do it? Nothing can stop you. And I'm sure sport will feature in your life heavily, whatever you do.
Coaching of my child's
Sunday
rugby team.
Get your rugby referee qualification and do that on the side.
Where do you think you're going to be in 5 to 10 years' time? Maybe 10. I know, you're not good at that, are you?
No. 10 years, 28.
28. What would you like by 28, Jude?
Would be cool to be married. I don't know.
Or to have met the person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be cool, but I don't really know. I'm not sure. I think I want to enjoy my 20s. I want to do like exciting, fun things. I really have got this idea. Like I'd really like to, after uni, like I'd really like to live in an apartment with some friends. Like I don't know why I've always had that.
Like
thought I'd like to
Friends.
do.
Although you probably never watched Friends.
I haven't watched Friends. No. But sorry.
But that idea
that kind
with
of
your
idea,
friends.
I think.
Why an apartment?
I don't know. I've always just thought it's really cool.
They're
like,
cleaner, probably.
yeah.
They sound clean, stylish.
Yeah. I don't know. I just want to enjoy them. Like, feel like I can be almost spontaneous in my 20s. Like, I don't know. So I don't know where I see myself. Hopefully doing something that I enjoy. Possibly married. Possibly not.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What kind of a person do you want to be? If people were to say, you should meet Jude, and they were going to describe you in 3 words, how would you like them to describe you? What kind of a person?
It's really cliche.
Handsome.
Yeah.
He's handsome, intelligent. No. What would you choose?
That is not me at all.
No.
Well, I mean, fun's quite cliche, but
It's not.
I'd like to be known as fun.
Yeah.
Someone who's like inclusive. I want to be known as someone that's
Makes
like
everyone
that.
welcome.
Make people feel known and welcome and seen. Are you saying how do I want to be known in 5 to 10 years? Or
now.
Just now.
Either. I hope you'd still want to be fun and inclusive.
I want to be known as like someone who's a good, I know it sounds really basic as well, but like a good friend. Like it's not someone who just says things that's nice for the person to hear, but that's true and like helps that person grow.
Like challenge
them. Yeah, I want to be someone.
You're good at that.
I don't know what the word is for it, but someone who is like can go about that in a loving way, but is actually real with their friends. That's what I want to be known as. Someone that's quite like that. Who's
a good friend should challenge us.
A stable friend.
Yeah, and say actually you're better than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant. What about me? You to me. Which one did you pick?
How do you think my university experience will differ from what yours was like all those years ago?
Back in the before Christ era of going to uni. Well, different because I got married when I was at uni.
Yeah.
So
I was always hoping. Whenever you told me that when I was younger, I was always hoping that I would be married at.
But I am
unlikely.
Unusual. I am unusual in many, many ways. So I highly doubt that will happen for you.
Yeah. Who knows?
Who knows? I lived in. You'll also have nicer accommodation because students have higher expectations. Like I lived in more basic accommodation. Yeah. I lived in what was called Widrington. It was part of Lake and Wid, which was part of Birmingham University. And it's knocked down now and doesn't exist anymore. But I definitely think you'll have nicer accommodation. I think yours will differ to mine because I think you've probably thought more deeply about why you're going and what you want it to stand for. And I feel like I missed a bit of an opportunity at uni. I don't think I took the opportunity. I took it a little bit for granted. And I actually think because you've had a gap year, you won't do that. So, I think it will differ in that way. And I definitely think you'll live somewhere nicer than I did. As much as I loved it, I loved Birmingham University and it's a beautiful uni. Shout out to anyone who went there. Okay, last little bit now, Neely.
Well,
go on then. Sorry.
Kind of touched on what you just said before.
Go on then.
About who do I want to be when I'm older? What do I want to be known for? What kind of person do you hope that I become as I grow older?
I hope that you become increasingly comfortable with being you, actually. That would be my hope for you, that you are somebody who really knows who you are, knows the gifts and talents that you have, and you know the part you play. And I think if you know that, you can use that as a filter for all the decisions that you make going forward from there. If you know this is what I do well, this is what I love, this is what I care about, the more you know that, I think the more comfortable you are. And that is just also such a lovely thing to be around. And I hope you become somebody who continues to hold that balance of being someone who has a lot of presence with being warm and gentle. And I think if you can continue to do that, you'll be such a safe place for so many people. That's who I hope you are. And someone who just still comes home and visits regularly.
You're worried about it?
A little bit. No, I'm not really worried about it because I think you will. There is a thing though, like people talk about, what do they say? A girl's, I'm going to get this so wrong now. A daughter's your daughter all your life. A son's a son till he takes a wife. That's what people used to say. And that's like a thing that makes me think, oh my goodness, well, I've had 3 sons, so they're all just going to get married one day and then ditch me. I don't think it's true or has to be that way. As long as there's a dog here,
I'll be coming back.
Okay, well, I'll make sure I have dogs. But there is that, and people have even said it to me, Jude. Our old next door neighbour, do you remember?
Yeah.
She's dead now, rest in peace. But she said to me, oh, I feel sorry for you having 3 sons. They're just going to forget all about you.
Yeah.
He literally said that to me in the cold light of day whilst I'm putting my bins out.
Yeah.
So those things do sit in your mind. It is brutal. And yet, I don't think it has to be like that at all. It's not the family that we have created. It's not, I am like the mafia. So it won't happen anyway because I'll know where you live and I'll be tracking you.
Find my iPhone.
Find my iPhone. I'll find you and just visit and turn up on the door. Only me.
Dad won't care.
Dad will be like, oh, Dad will be thinking about a nice holiday we can go on, and I'll be like, where are my children? No, I'm not that worried about that. I feel like I've made my peace with it. I will be sad not to have you around every day, and that's coming, and that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Okay. So last little bit. How do you think your relationship with your family is going to evolve as you move out? So you've got Levi who still lives at home, and then you've got a brother who's already moved out. How do you think it's going to change over the next few years? Good, bad, same?
It sounds like Levi's just come through the front door.
Do you think he has? Oh, well, we'll ignore him.
But
could be the HelloFresh people.
Yeah. So how will it?
How do you think it's going to change? If you with Levi still being at home, Noah's at uni, you're all moving into this growing up phase. Levi's going to 6th form, wants to, pursue rugby and all the rest of it. How do you think the next few years are going to look for you as brothers and us as a family?
I think kind of what have to go off is Noah going to uni, so that's kind of shaped what I feel it will look like. And I found with Noah going to uni, like we've always been quite close as brothers, but I think I found that I've become so much closer to him since he left for uni, and it means that the times that we are together are way more valuable and special, and so you don't argue about silly things. It's like it's like a waste of time.
Yeah.
And so I think like I'll miss like the mundane, normal, just
the ins and outs.
Yeah, me and Levi just being weird and playing FIFA and all those things. Being able to come and just talk.
And like when he comes and sleeps in your room sometimes.
He does.
I was just thinking, can I say this?
No,
but he does, doesn't he?
Does.
He'll just come and go. I'll wake up in the morning, I'm like, where is Levi? And I realise he's slept in your room.
Just a little sleepover.
Yeah. There won't be that.
No.
Not so often. Sometimes.
Sometimes. And so I'll probably miss that, the normal stuff, but I think it will mean that when I am here and
you treasure it.
Yeah, from uni back from for the holidays and stuff, you will really treasure that. And I'll probably really appreciate the cooking and all of that.
All of the stuff.
Even more so than I do.
That now. I'll do. And I think most people, when the foundations are strong, say that when you come back together, you can just really appreciate it and be that safe place for each other that you bounce off and then go live your lives. And you just have to be a bit more planned. I think that's the main thing. You can't just leave it to chance in the way you can when you live together. Yeah. But if you do plan,
be proactive.
Yeah, you've got to be proactive. Okay, if you could give advice to a future version of yourself, what would it be? If you can imagine yourself in the future, what advice might you give to them, knowing what you know about yourself now?
Just go for it. I don't know. Just do it. Like, if you've got a decision or unless something feels like blindingly wrong and shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Just kind of go for it. Just back it and
choose the bold choice.
Yeah. And also just be kind of what you said about being comfortable with who I am. Just don't lose that no matter where I go. Continue to be myself and hold to the values that I've got, like not be swayed by what's around me and what city I'm in and all of those things.
So if that's advice for your future self, do you think it's advice for your current self as well?
Yeah, probably.
Just back it, do it, go for it.
Yeah.
What about you to me then around family? If there's anything that we haven't covered, if we've covered your questions, don't worry.
What's like a family value that you hope I carry forward?
Well, fundamentally, I would want you to carry your sense of faith, but I almost don't need to say that because I know that that's your own personal faith. But in terms of our family values, I think one thing I know you'll carry forward, we've had people live with us most of your life, haven't we? Yeah. We've had extra people be part of our family. And I think a family value about other people, finding family with you is something I'd want you to take with you. And you can be family as a single person. You don't have to be a nucleus family. And being a place that gives other people a sense of family and home, I would love you to take that into your life. That's a really good question. You've made me think. Yeah. Are you done with that bit?
Yeah.
Okay, so the last little bit now. This is 2 last questions from me and then you, okay? Yeah. If someone is listening to this who's in the same stage of life, what advice would you give them? So if somebody's listening to this and they're doing their uni application, they're thinking about a gap year, what are you learning about what your advice would be?
Firstly,
if they're
thinking about a gap year, I would just say do it. I can't really think of many scenarios where it would be negative.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's probably different case by case, but sorry, I've got a bit of a sore throat, so I'm probably sounding a little bit more nasally.
You're not crying, are you? It's not that. No.
Yeah, firstly, take a gap year. I think it's really good. It's been really beneficial for me to be able to slow down and kind of think through my decision a bit more about uni, and it also allows you to just kind of get some like life experience, get a job that's like regular and stable, and you learn lots of skills from that. It's also probably the easiest time to take a year out from study or a year out from work,
responsibility,
kind of in that kind of capacity. It's more and more difficult as you get older to
I'd love
take that year out. So yeah, firstly that, and just don't deep it too much. Like what you're going to study, unless obviously you want to be a doctor. Like you got to go and do medicine or something like that. Like don't deep it. Go with what you enjoy, and you'll kind of
passions.
and that's quite cliche, but I think if you do that, you can kind of make do with what you've studied, and if you enjoy it, then you'll do better at it and all of that stuff.
That's good.
Yeah.
So my last question is, if you imagine this is like a timestamp, okay? This is you at 18 and a half.
It'd be funny watching this back in
you'll
many
watch
years
this
in
back.
the future.
If you watch this back in 10, 20 years and you look at yourself, is there a note you want to leave to your future self? It's a hard thing to even think about, but...
What do you mean by notes?
Well, is there something that you'd want to say or a message you'd leave for your future self?
Probably just I feel like everything I'm saying today has not been very, it's just been pretty cliche and pretty simple, which is fine. But probably just continue to just be encourage them to live in the moment, because I feel like I've often not done that. Even while I was at school, I was always I was often looking forward to
what would come next.
What would come next? I'm excited to leave school and go to uni, or don't know. When I was in primary school, I wanted secondary school. When I was secondary school, sixth form, uni. Whereas you look back and you're like, there's actually lots of really good stuff that I did enjoy, but probably maybe could have enjoyed more if I just was in that moment. And so probably that. And as I get older, probably
keep looking for the good in the moments that you're in.
See what. There'll be life will probably be more and more stressful as I get older and more responsibilities, but probably just live in the moment and see what's good in around you, and kind of hold on to that, treasure that.
That's a really good piece of advice for any adult. What do you want to ask me to finish? Anything?
What message would you like to leave me to look back on in the future, and a timestamp, a note for me in the future, and for yourself? Actually, it's not just about me.
Okay, so for the timestamp thought for you, if you're watching this back in the future, I hope that you will have always known how loved you are,
how proud we are. How uniquely you've been made to do the things that only you can do, and that you are born to make it not just follow passions because they serve you, but also because of the difference you can make to the world around you. And that not to underestimate the power of the things that you can do to shift injustice in the world or bring about change. And that if this is your future self watching it, I imagine you have got quite a lot of responsibility. I imagine that you've got quite significant stuff on your shoulders now, both on the micro level of probably being a parent, but also you probably have a job that has got a lot of responsibility, because I imagine that for you. And I hope that if you listen to this back, you know that you've got everything within you to do that, if you just keep being who you're made to be. That's what I'd say. And for me, a timestamp and say, look, in what you said, enjoy every moment. Try and not enjoy everything about every moment, because that's not true, but look for the stuff to be grateful for in every moment, because time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, it does.
Is that your last question?
I think so. Feels like a good place to finish.
I think so too. Thanks, Jude.
Are you going to do like a like, comment, subscribe? I mean, it's
like,
YouTube, I've always wanted to do
comment,
that.
subscribe. Go on, you do it.
What do I say?
Like, comment, subscribe.
It's not subscribe, it's like follow, isn't it?
Okay, follow on Instagram or follow the show. Yeah. Subscribe on YouTube.
What times? Okay. I'm going to do it
go
properly.
on then.
Okay,
all
so
right.
Firstly, like the video, no matter what platform you're on.
Yeah.
Share it.
Very good. And show somebody who might have a teenager.
Yeah. And comment, what timestamp do you want to give to yourself in 10 years? So you can look back at this post and remember what you were saying to yourself.
Very good. Would you want a job?
I'm a natural, yeah.
Okay. You can have one when you come back.
Yeah. No uni for me anymore.
No uni. Just come and work for me.
Hit the notification bell.
Thanks,
That's the last
Jude.
thing, I think. But yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.